homelessness,
poverty,
buses, trains, trams, planes,
mental health,
disability,
immigration,
hidden ethnic communities,
employment,
young people,
older people,
LGBT,
refugees.
You think you know, but you have no idea. This is how knife crime is affecting London. Knife crime, an epidemic sweeping our capital. There seems to be no escape from the headlines in newspapers, reminding us of the victims these attacks have claimed. As a Londoner, my peers and I are anxious about this knife crime epidemic. Knife crime is often associated with young people living in inner cities across the capital. Sadiq Khan's June 2017 knife crime report recognised that 90% of offenders were male and 75% are under 25 years old. The report also states gang-flagged crime accounts for only 5% of knife crime. Knives are being used for robberies, violent domestic abuse, and more recently, terror attacks. According to the Evening Standard, since 2016, knife crime in London has risen by 24% and over 12,000 offences recorded, with hundreds more going unreported. Knives are easily obtainable. From pen knives to meat cleavers, there are a variety of blades available in homes, stores and online. The accessibility of knives sees a trend in young people arming themselves with a blade. The BBC reported that more than 2,000 weapons were seized by school students in England and Wales in the last 2 years. Public perception is that the majority of these victims are young Londoners. The highest numbers of knife-related incidents are reported to be in Lambeth, Southwark and Tower Hamlets. Its numbers have been rising for the past few years, and it has reached a perfect storm, with London's communities feeling helpless and out of control. Why is it happening, and what can be done? Eamon and Shrey are just two of the countless victims of knife crime.
No one's perfect. I did go to prison. August the 10th, 2014, that's when I came out of jail. When jail over 12, came out in 2014. And I saw someone that I went to school with. But at them times, I didn't know that he has a problem with me. So I approached him how we're talking now. As soon as I turned around, he stabbed me in my back. And he stabbed me with a Rambo. And the Rambo basically is a type of a knife that has daggers. So if it goes into your skin, it goes in smooth. And if it comes out, it's taking out your flesh, it's taking out your nerve. And as I got stabbed here, on the left side, just above my bum cheek, the knife came out of my belly. The damage that it's caused me is long term. I've got nerve damage on the left side of my body now, and I've got a colostomy bag. So I have to potentially live with this bag for the rest of my life.
With me, it got to a point where my mum and dad broke up, so I decided to then start hanging around with the bad people in my area, and then that led me to also start selling drugs. So I was involved in shootouts, carrying knives, and there was a situation where I saw a rival gang member and we was fighting, and then he actually stabbed me twice. So he stabbed me on my back and on my shoulder. I was in hospital for 3 months. I could have lost my life over something so silly, something so small. Like, I didn't need to go out there, but I decided to, because I thought, oh, you know what, what's the point of living? When I came out of hospital, I thought everyone was against me. If I see someone, or even if I see a shadow, I was afraid, because I thought, oh, maybe someone's coming to attack me again. So it took me a long time to actually get over it and to start life again, because I was in the same state where it happened. I couldn't really escape it. You know, everything reminded me of it. But with my dad, it really affected him, because I'm his only son. And obviously, knife crime being on such a high level, you know, he thought, okay, my son is dead now. You know, when he heard the news, he said he broke down, you know, to the point where he didn't even want to leave the house anymore. I became depressed, you know, I kind of stood away from everyone in my own corner, and I thought, there's no other way for me now. What do I do now? You know, people are trying to kill me. I almost died. My family are disappointed in me. You know, my family are scared for me.
Would you be able to tell us how this kind of spike in knife crime compares to previous years?
Knife crime's getting a lot worse. I don't remember the types of crime that are happening now, with young people randomly, for some stupid reason, stabbing each other, sometimes killing them, sometimes seriously injuring them.
Knife crime at the moment is getting from bad to worse. It's definitely worse than when I was a police officer. The age of the perpetrators are getting younger.
Back in the day, you'd have a motive for an attack. There'd be some sort of dispute about something significant. But we're now getting things like, you looked at my girlfriend the wrong way, or you're in the wrong postcode area. That's just pathetic. I suspect if it wasn't for the A&E departments and the paramedics, I suspect the murder rate would be massive now.
The Met's Operation Sceptre was launched with the aim of reducing knife crime across the whole of London. It described itself as in the business of murder suppression and launched a new phase of Operation Sceptre, an 80-strong task force to tackle this rise. The operation has seen hundreds of arrests and recovering knives and intensified stop and search. According to the London Mayor's recent knife crime report, May of 2015 saw 380 knives seized.
The Operation Sceptre approach is the police, the Metropolitan Police, doing all they can do with their reduced numbers and everything else. Yes, it's putting a load of officers in areas where there's a particular problem at a particular time, but it would be far better to have community officers there all the time. Anyone in London will have noticed there is less of a police presence on the street. They see fewer officers on fewer occasions for shorter periods of time. That is bound to have an effect.
This lack of police presence and a high incidence of knife crime could contribute to what a 2016 London Assembly report described as young people's negative perception of safety, meaning many turn to carrying knives for their own protection. The recent knife crime strategy by the London Mayor acknowledges this. However, the Mayor has stated that he recognises the issue is very complex, with many carrying knives to intimidate others and for perceived power and status.
Young people don't trust police, unfortunately. They believe they're over-policed and under-protected. That because of their heavy-handed type of policing they experience on a daily basis.
When I was like in my teens and my late teens, I used to get stopped and searched many times, and I was never like involved with gang activities and anything. So every time I walk out my house or I'm running literally to a shop to get the milk for my mum because the shop's closing, they'll run after me and chase me down and stop me from getting milk from my mum and say, where you going, what are you doing, asking me so many questions, abusing it, harassing me. That's what made me to distrust the police.
Sadiq Khan's recent knife crime report stated that 58% of young Londoners agreed increased stop and search would reduce knife crime. The Met has stated that it wants to conduct stop and search with respect and with cooperation from the community, although the tactic remains controversial and is widely seen as a major cause of distrust towards the police.
The police have got a bit of a difficult situation. Yes, they've got a role to play in trying to prevent young people generally, committing crimes and carrying knives in the first place. But that's something that must be led by education and by colleges and by social services. And in relation to enforcement, when someone's decided to carry a knife, the only tool they've got available that can possibly hope to stop that knife being used is stop and search.
The cornerstone of police legitimacy is trust and confidence. So police officers are, in a lot of ways, are dealing with this issue blind, because if you don't have trust and confidence, then you're not going to get the intelligence to deal with that crime.
The high proportion of black people being stopped and searched adds to the Met's negative reputation within inner London communities.
Obviously females do get stopped and searched a lot less, so I can't say, I've been in that position, but I can say that I know people who have experienced that, or people who do feel angry at the fact that why is it, they feel as if, it's because I'm this colour why I'm getting stopped. This is all I have to be in order to be stopped.
Literally, yeah.
You're going to stop and search the people that you have got intelligence are likely to be committing those offences. So if you've got young black people stabbing young black people, well, the victims and the suspects are all in the same demographic. And so young black people are bound to be the people that the police are looking at and saying, who are these people, what are they doing? It doesn't help with young people looking deliberately hard, an old expression, but gangster-like on the street with the hoods up and the hard stares and all the rest of it. They go out of their way to do that, so if a cop sees them, they look suspicious.
What would you say to those people who criticise maybe the reality that police do think that way and therefore feel compelled to search?
It's how they behave. It's times, places, groupings, what they're doing. Why are they in a particular place at a particular time? If they're playing football, they're playing football, or throwing balls through a hoop, great. But if they're just hanging around on that street corner, especially if it's a street corner associated with drug dealing, we know there are street drug markets. People go there to buy, therefore the drug dealers are going to hang around there. If they're hanging around there for no good reason for a significant period of time, then those suspicions are going to arise.
Young people are feeling let down by the system, and then
attacking the system.
The life that you're trying to live, I've already lived it, and it brings me nothing but misery.
Organisations can be more territorial than gangs are. SOS is unique in the fact that we're completely ex-offender led, and we're delivering sessions to schools, pupil referral units, in all sorts of community settings, and the aim is to demystify and de-glamorise the reality of gangs. But more than that, to impart real tools that the young people can use on a day-to-day basis in order to exit these groups. My background isn't too dissimilar to the young people that we're working with. Got sent down for 12 years. Ex-offenders, I think, are unique. They're the ones that can really engage. When I think about who could have reached me, well, really only somebody who knew what the reality was and that could relate to me.
I first started Lives Not Knives when I was 14. I had seen a lot of my friends stabbed in front of me. When I turned 16, I'd lost 2 friends to knife crime. We started working, doing preventative workshops with young people.
When we're talking to young people, they're telling us that everyone carries a knife. And so what that creates is, it creates a feeling of fear. Like young people say to us is, well, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm found lacking. So a young person will carry a knife in order to feel protected, in order to feel safe. The knife is their best friend. Another thing that we're seeing as well is that the youth services and the provisions that are out there being cut back. Without those services, we've got to ask, where are those young people going to go? They're going to be on the street corner, they're going to be hanging about, and that just creates more of them and creates more of a likelihood for friction to happen. It's crazy. I've done like school sessions with kids, and I've said to the kids, is there safe places to stab? And kids have said, yeah, no, there's a place right here, sir. Like if you stab the person right there, or just dink him in the calf muscle. I asked the kids in the same group, how many people know first aid? In most cases, none. People would know quicker how to take someone's life than how to save someone's life. Imagine that. I don't think that a young person wakes up one morning and decides they're going to carry a knife, or they wake up and they say, well, I'm going to be a gang member. These are issues that are built up over time.
There's no education, support and guidance for these young people growing up. There's not enough help to prevent and to teach these young people. I understand that teachers are not social workers. They aren't mental health specialists. They don't necessarily know what's going on in the background with these young people unless there's visible scars or unless there's visible evidence that things are happening. So why do we not have social workers based in schools, and do we not have people that are behavioural specialists based in schools before we actually kick them out of these institutes? Because young people are feeling let down by the system and then attacking the system.
When we go into schools, people are quite wary of the stigma that's attached to gangs. So, oh no, we don't have gangs here. No, we don't have a knife issue there in our school. But I ask the kids some real questions like, do you know someone who's been stabbed, or do you know someone who's carried a knife in order to feel safe? And when the majority of kids stand up, like you just literally see the teacher's mouths drop.
It's not just the authorities attempting to make a change. Young people are also taking action to stand up against the knife crime epidemic. There have been a number of marches in the capital so far this year.
One of the things that stands out about this march is the large number of youths that are involved in this. They're marching from Catford to Peckham.
If you want to be somebody, go somewhere.
By doing this march, we're going to make awareness. We're bringing that impact to the area, you know, making it known that we're standing up against something that's growing and no one knows how to really stop.
Do you think things like this make a difference?
I would say so. I mean, anything that gets people passionate, anything that gets people going. I mean, I had no idea. I come out the pub, I had no ideas going on. This goes past, it makes you just well up and want to get involved, makes you want to look into it. I think anything where people get together and get passionate about a good cause is worthwhile, and I think it's brilliant.
It's really nice to see that they can organize themselves as young people for a cause that is very important.
We're very, very proud of you youths. Well done, Peckham. Well done, Sadok.
We're not highlighting the risks that young people are putting themselves at by carrying knives, although sometimes I can see their reasons for doing it. They feel threatened.
We cannot just leave it to the community, just leave it to the schools. We should do more of this, not just once in a while. We should be sending out the message constantly. As parents or carers or guardian, if we know what's going on for a young person, at least that's a start. The communication there is happening, and we can try and make changes and work together.
I honestly think that, you know, organisations can be more territorial than gangs are, yeah, because it seems like everybody just wants to be central, but the reality is we're being hit with a tidal wave of young people coming through the services. Everyone's got a part to play.
I've been told before by an organisation in Croydon, why should people give me funding or have me working with young people when it's a black on black crime, youth matter, and I'm not black? It's nasty. It's a nasty world, and it shouldn't be, because we're actually all here to help other people.
The streets are crying out with the names and the blood of young children. The knife knows no colour, knows no race, knows no age. It's irrespective of location. More needs to happen.
One young group are doing this through the creative arts, making a music video for the song They Don't Want to Listen after the fatal stabbing of 15-year-old boy Kwamari Barnes outside his school gates. Artists Preds UK and Meldog partnered with the Forefront Project, whose vision is to create a society where young people and communities live free from violence. All proceeds from the song will support the Forefront Project's work.
The truth when they have got to be faced with it, because nowadays kids are dying over change.
They don't want to see the ghetto youth size. They've been holding back the man down for time. Now it's our time. Now it's our time to shine.
There's a lot of things happening on the streets, and you know, can't act like it's not happening. So music is a way for you to express how you feel, when this is something, an issue that has to be addressed, you know what I mean? So I linked up with Meldog. He's the next person that's passionate about it. I ain't got no kids yet, but when I have my kids, I want to know that they're in a better place than it is now. So we just want to contribute to that.
You say ain't that fun. They don't want to listen. No, they don't want to listen.
They don't want to listen. It can be DJs that don't want to play a song that's got positive lyrics. They can be the government not listening to the young people's frustrations and what's going on. And you know, they could be parents who don't know what their children are going through. So when it's a song called They Don't Want to Listen, it's talking on the wide aspect, you know. A lot of artists have seen violence in their communities and they've seen the effects of it. So I think more of them should speak up against it and not let, you know, the scene be drowned out by people who are turning their back on things that are actually happening in their own community.
The kids will listen. It starts from the generations. We can pass it down, innit? The ones that are younger than us, the ones younger than them, they can have a say. But until we do that, they're going to continue not to listen.
Whether it be music, TV, media, whatever it is, we do need to use our platform to try to positively inspire and positively influence. It's no secret that people look to music artists and whoever it may be for their inspiration. So if you are putting out the positive kind of message, then it makes sense.
What is it that needs to happen for young people to stop even contemplating carrying a knife?
People need to grow up. Understand that it is not just you you're affecting, it's everyone around you. My child, he's grown up to see that this is something normal. The adults grow up with a bag on their belly. All I do is do different youth talks, just for the youth to wake up and just to show them that the life that you're trying to live, I've already lived it and it brings me nothing but misery. Why are you trying to get to where I am? Do you want to live with this bag? Do you want to live with this nerve damage for the rest of your life? I'm in pain 24/7. I have to change my bag twice a day. And is this really what you want to do?
Somebody needs to give a lead. They need to call together everybody and talk about these things, including young people, especially young people. Listen to what they've got to say, come up with all the different ideas that people have got, work out what can be done, short, medium, long term. If you had a pile of dead white kids in Knightsbridge or Eton, I can guarantee there'd be a hell of a lot more being done than where we've got a pile of dead black kids in Peckham.
I think we have to actually start right from the beginning. And it wouldn't be a good idea to actually talk to some of the kids who are actually carrying the knives, actually have a proper, respectful, and show them respect. They may be, in some cases, members of gangs. Who cares? I think we've got to talk to them. And we've also got to talk to them from a peer perspective. Because they're not going to listen to me. Not going to listen to, sort of an elderly white bloke from West London. We've got to talk to people who can talk their language.
So what would you say to the young boys and girls watching at home who are tempted to carry a knife for their own protection?
I know a lot of you might carry knives for your safety. I know a lot of you might carry knives because you don't want to get into that situation where you have to defend yourself. But you yourself just carrying that knife, it means that you are willing to use it, regardless if you don't. No matter how much of a man you think it makes you, when you're behind your closed doors, I know you're broken. I know it affects you. I know it gets to you. But the youth are too scared. And if you're scared and understand, you're going to forever live in that bubble. You're forever going to live in that bubble.
Police, social changes and youth groups all agree that knife crime is primarily a socio-economic issue fueled by fear. However, with communities and young people working together more than ever before, there certainly seems to be a strong-willed fight to tackle this issue. If we don't, more London streets will become memorials.
Seems there's a lot on the mind of London town today. Beyond the landmarks of this city, beyond the picture postcard scenes, into the back streets and the bedrooms and the dreams of people here. Beyond the grandiose shop windows to the cardboard beds below. 0-hour contract bodies dragging hope and anger home. Those people we don't know, those communities unseen. An ageing population alone befriending TV screens. So now let's look through lit up windows where the real people live. Beyond the picture postcard scenes, into the back streets and the bedrooms and the dreams of people here.